Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of BDI's vlogs. Today we're going to talk about quarantine, obviously really pertinent subject right now with everything that's happening with COVID. We've had a lot of doctors entering the country in the last couple of months, so we're just going to do a short vlog, run you through the kind of new rules about quarantine in hotels and how to put your tests when you arrive. Okay, so the new rules for anyone coming into the country are really affecting anyone who's on what's called a red list country. So there's a list of countries online that you can find on the Gov website, or we can send it to you, which means that if you're flying into the country directly, you will need to quarantine in a hotel at the airport site. Now, obviously, that's a bit of an inconvenience. There are different rules as well for Scotland. So if you're flying directly into Scotland from any country, you will have to do the hospital quarantine. But if you're flying into London first and then transiting on, then you will not have to do that. So it can be a bit complicated depending on where you're coming from and which kind of home nation you're traveling to. But generally speaking, if you do have to go into the hotel accommodation, you're going to have to pay £1,750. Now, that covers a one-bed room for a single adult, and the cost of that takes care of your transport from the airport to the hotel, takes care of all of your meals, your COVID tests while you're there. So it's kind of fully inclusive. You know, I'm sure you'd rather spend the money on going on holiday somewhere else, but it does cover everything that you're going to need whilst you're in quarantine accommodation. Okay, so what happens if you're traveling with your family or with other people? Now, obviously, that might be something you want to consider. It's not often that everyone can travel on their own, especially during times like this, to leave loved ones overseas. So if you're traveling with a partner, a husband, wife, there is an additional cost for that quarantine period in the hotel, and that's £650. Now, the majority of the cost that you've already spent for the main applicant, the £1,750, covers the main bulk of the room, but it's obviously the additional cost for the transfers, the food, the kind of additional extras that come with having another person involved. The cost actually applies to anyone who's over the age of 12. If you are traveling with children and they're between the ages of 5 and 12, the additional cost is reduced, it's £325. And if you have very small children or baby, anything under the age of 5, or anyone under the age of 5, then that's absolutely free. There is also an option that if you unfortunately test positive for COVID during your quarantine, you can stay additional days at a day rate. If you look on the government website or the hotel website, you'll get more details of exactly what that cost is, but it generally will be between sort of £40 and £160 a day, depending on where you are. Now, the second main change to the policy around quarantine regards testing for COVID upon your arrival in the UK. So if you're flying in now, you will have to do a test on day 2 and again on day 8 to make sure that you are testing negative for the test. Now, there is an upfront cost of £210 and you'll be asked when you arrive, or sorry, prior to arrival, to fill out a passenger locator card, and in that you'll have to put the address of where you're going to be staying in the UK, so where your accommodation is. Now, the address that you put on that form is the place that your COVID test will be sent to, so it's really important that before you travel, you have your accommodation, if you're not going into the quarantine hotel accommodation, arranged and booked, and you've got that address so that when you fill out the form, your COVID tests are going to go to the right place. Now, obviously, if you hopefully you're testing negative on both day 2 and day 8, then on day 10 you can be released from your quarantine, and presumably by that point you'll have run out of Netflix programs to watch anyway. Okay, so we're filming this on the 25th of February, so everything that we've just talked about is current as of now. As always, these things are subject to change. What we've just outlined might not be applicable by the time you're watching the video, so be careful on your dates. We'll keep you up to date with all the other developments, and we hope to speak to you very soon. Thanks very much.